13 News at 5 begins with a big night across central Indiana, and right here on Channel 13, because we got the return of Operation Football. I messed up the crescendo.
Yes, Operation Football is here. It is Friday night.
You pick it up.
We are ready. Dom started early this morning, going out to Martinsville, and now tonight the teams are going to be playing under the Friday night lights as the season officially begins tonight. A long day for Dom, who now joins us with Eli. They are on the road. They're headed to our game of the week. That's going to be at Lawrence North High School. That game is they're hosting their Lawrence rivals, Lawrence Central.
Yes, so they're going to join us in just a little bit with a look at the band of the week tonight at 5:30. And it is also a big night for the Indiana Fever.
That's right. So the team, as we've been documenting, has lost a lot of players to injuries, and they're taking on the #1 team in the league right now, the Lynx from Minnesota. They're here in town, and that tip is coming up at 7:30 here at home at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So whether you're going to be going to the Fever game or you're going out to a high school football game, or maybe you've got other plans, you want to be in the backyard, just relaxing. Do we want an extra layer tonight? That's our question.
Maybe one extra layer. It can be a thin layer. We're talking about a sweatshirt or a jacket. And by the way, no one can match Dom's excitement at 6 in the morning.
Oh, I know.
So the three of us should not even try.
Okay.
Roll the tape, Dom.
Yes, yes. He was great this morning. We'll look forward to hearing from them. And if you are headed out to Operation Football tonight, temperatures will be in the 70s. We couldn't ask for better weather to kick things off this evening. Middle and upper 70s. There will be some clearing. Sunset this evening is at 8:30. We had more clouds than sunshine for most of us again today. Temperatures 75 to 80 degrees. We have 75 Morris Reservoir, 75 Bainbridge, 77 Connorsville, and 77 degrees in Indianapolis. Coming downtown for the Fever game, it's going to be just as nice. A mild evening temperatures in the 70s. That is a 7:30 tip at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. How about the weekend? We'll start a little bit warmer tomorrow afternoon as far as comparing Saturday to Sunday. Low 80s in the Saturday forecast for a warm afternoon. Still that slight rain chance late in the day on Saturday, and then breezy and cooler. It's at the beginning of a big change coming our way, and it starts Sunday.
All right. Thank you so much, Angela. An Indianapolis mother made her initial court appearance today on a neglect charge in the death of her 2-year-old son.
Javarius Bickett shot and killed himself with a gun that he found in his mom's purse. Rich and I had his camera in the courtroom as Kiara Bickett learned whether she can continue to care for her daughter while awaiting trial.
28-year-old Kiara Bickett is free on a $50,000 surety bond. She walked into the courtroom Friday hoping the judge would allow her to keep caring for her 9-year-old daughter while she awaits trial on a charge of neglect of a dependent resulting in death. Her 2-year-old son, Javarius, shot himself in the face and died June 19th. Javarius was apparently between his mom and sister in the front seat of the car as the family drove through a CVS parking lot when the toddler found the loaded gun in his mom's unzipped purse in the console. Bickett fought tears as the state asked for a no-contact order with her daughter, in part because the girl witnessed the shooting.
Where is your child now?
She's at school.
Okay, is she in your custody right now?
Yes.
Okay, was there a CPS investigation?
The CPS said that it was a lady, a DCS lady. She said that it's no case open with my daughter. It was really just for my son because of my son's situation.
Right. Okay. And so there was no further action taken with regard to with your child?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you had care and custody of her ever since this incident?
Yeah, since the day it happened.
Okay. Okay.
Magistrate Peggy Hart took the no-contact order under advisement until the next court hearing. Bickett faces a sentence of 20 to 40 years if convicted. Her mother believes that's unfair, on top of the grief from what she calls an absolute accident.
Bickett told the judge she will hire her own attorney, and she's due back in court with that attorney on September 5th. The jury trial is scheduled for November 18th. At the Marion County Community Justice Campus, Rich Nye, 13 News.
That's such a tough story all the way around. Bickett declined to comment outside the courtroom. Her mother did tell Rich in an interview that you saw on 13 News at 5 yesterday that her daughter deserves some punishment, but a level 1 felony charge is just too severe for these circumstances. In other news, Indianapolis Metro Police are looking to arrest an Indianapolis father who is charged in the shooting death of his 2-year-old daughter, Harmony. Leonte Anderson faces a charge of neglect of a dependent. Police believe Harmony found her father's loaded gun on top of a shoe rack in their house on Ralston Avenue near I-70 in Rural last month.
We have an update tonight, and it's good news on the little girl who just a short time ago police believe wouldn't make it. She was hospitalized following a severe beating.
This week, Luna turned 4 years old at Riley Hospital for Children. That's where doctors are continuing to treat her. Her mom tells 13 News that she's getting better after suffering several injuries, including one to her brain. She's expected to move out of the ICU soon and into a rehab unit before going home.
The little girl's dad and his girlfriend, pictured here, are both charged with neglect of a dependent, resulting in serious bodily injury. Her dad is also facing battery charges.
Tonight, an Indianapolis City Department wants your help to identify short-term rental properties.
We've been telling you this week about resident concerns after a teen was shot and killed at a rental just like the one we're discussing just last weekend. Tonight, Jenna Webster explains how the city works to track these properties.
Indy's Department of Business and Neighborhood Services says the grounds complex where the shooting took place is not on the city's short-term rental registry. Right now, more than 1,100 properties are part of that registry, but the city says there's definitely more they don't know about. Since January 1st, property owners have been required to register their short-term rentals with the city. It's a one-time $150 fee, but the registration must be renewed annually, the same whether it's a house or an apartment. The city says if they learn of a property not on the registry, they'll contact the owners. If it's still not in compliance, IMPD can issue a violation. It could be up to $500. 13 News has filed a Freedom of Information Act request to find out how many violations IMPD has issued.
The reason this exists is because sometimes there are, unfortunately, problem properties or nuisance properties. But I think a lot of it is just getting the news out there that this ordinance exists and you need to put your property on there.
We're still waiting to learn if the grounds will face any penalties for being non-compliant with the registry. The problem is the city says they can't search for every possible short-term rental property. Neighbors are encouraged to reach out if they have concerns about a possible rental. In Indianapolis, Jenna Webster, 13 News.
Thank you, Jenna. If you want to look and see if a property is on the short-term rental registry, we have a link to that with this story, which is on our website right now at WTHR.com. We also put together some information about how you can share your concerns about a rental property that's in your neighborhood. It's at that link as well.
Developing tonight, we're getting a look at the preliminary report into a small plane crash in Greenwood.
It comes from the National Transportation Safety Board. They just released this information. This is that crash, one plane crash that happened at the end of July. It happened near the intersection of East Main and Sheck Road, just west of I-65 behind the Circle K there. The report states that all the engine readings were steady before the plane went down into a ditch. It also stated the entire flight was just 90 seconds. It did not specifically mention a possible cause of the crash.
And Tu Nguyen died in this crash. She was a Purdue graduate, and her obituary stated that she passed away during her solo journey around the world.
In 2018, Tu Nguyen founded a nonprofit for Asian women in the aerospace field, and then in 2020, Tu opened the Dragon Flight Training Academy in the state of Florida.
Indiana Secretary of State is hearing from Hoosiers about how elections are run, and all of this is part of a new law passed this legislative session, which requires the Secretary of State to hold public meetings throughout the state to hear from voters.
Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker was the first at that meeting and in Muncie, and explains why the hot topic of redistricting did not come up.
Well, we know the possibility of lawmakers calling a special session to redraw Indiana's maps of its congressional districts is a topic that's being discussed both nationally and here in Indiana. It is a topic, though, that did not come up today at a public meeting with the Secretary of State, the person who is in charge of all of Indiana's elections. Members of the public were told several times to stay on topic.
Only two topics were up for discussion. The first, whether all 92 counties in Indiana should use voting centers during an election. Right now, 66 already do, like in Marion County. That means a resident can cast their ballot at a voting site anywhere in the county they live. The rest of Indiana counties use precinct voting. That means voters are assigned to a specific location where they can vote. In Muncie, Delaware County, where Friday's meeting was held, precincts are still used. Some Delaware County voters at Friday's meeting say if that changes, they want to see a voting center close to Ball State University so students have easy access.
Because I know a lot of students and a lot of people, especially on the south side of Muncie, they don't have means of transportation, and if they can't get to the voting center, precinct would be better.
It's about understanding the young people and doing what we need to do to make sure that they are exercising their rights.
Chelsea McDonald believes that's become harder after lawmakers passed a law last session banning college students from using their student IDs to prove their identity to vote.
About 40% of 18-year-olds nationwide don't have driver's licenses.
The other topic on the table, whether Indiana should change when municipal elections are held. Right now, those happen in odd-numbered years before a presidential election.
We would also ask if anyone is considering moving them seriously, that we remove the possibility of doing straight party tickets.
Yes.
Because I think that's one of the disadvantages.
Thank you, sorry, that's not part of our topics here.
Secretary of State Diego Morales said he's always happy to answer questions, but Friday's goal was to deal with what lawmakers tasked him to handle.
And the General Assembly assigned me to host these public meetings, and my goal today is to stay on topic because I must obviously present our findings to the General Assembly, and obviously, I'm here to do my job.
The job is not over yet. 2 more public meetings are set to be held. The next one set for September 3rd at Government Center South. The second for September 19th in Jeffersonville, Indiana. At the State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
And growing the game of cricket in Hamilton County.
How an annual tournament's expanded ahead here at 5:30. But first, we've got Angela with the weekend forecast.
Oh, Anne Marie, the weather is so mild out there. We warm it up just a little bit tomorrow with a slight rain chance. I'll cover all of that in your weekend forecast.
Plus, now 1 week later,
The fading hopes for a peace summit between Russia and Ukraine.